Good evening and welcome to ClausenWorld. I am in the garden late again tonight, and tonight's video is going to be about propagation. I am feeling in a propagation mood, so I am going to attempt to propagate my crimson passion flower vine. So join me in the garden. Before I get into the garden and cut my passion flower vine, I want to show you what I'm working with today. I have my Fisker shears, another Fisker pruner, just in case I need it. I have that perlite and vermiculite worm casting soil mixture that I made up a couple of days ago. I just have a little bit more of that in here. It's already pre-moistened. I have my gloves, as you know. I have my rooting hormone. I have my plastic cups. And I even brought out a Sharpie pencil so that you can mark on your cups what you are clipping. Now, before I cut my passion flower vine, I decided I was going to go ahead on and pot up the soil first. Let me make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to pot up the soil first, but before I do that, remember, you have to clip holes in the bottom of your cup to make sure that you can have proper drainage. And if you don't have scissors, you should be able to use your pruners to give yourself a little hole in the cup. And I have given myself a few holes in the bottom of the cup for drainage. So now I'm going to fill this halfway with this soil mixture. And I'm going to tamp it down just to make sure that there are no air pockets in it. Take my trowel and I'm going to push it down a little bit. Now it's a little bit over a half, but that's okay. You fill your cup as much as you want to fill your cup. And this is already pre-moistened. I might spritz it again with just a little bit more water, but I did pre-moisten it. It's not dripping out of the bottom, so I think I might put just a little bit more moisture in here. All right, so we're going to go over to the plant, and we're now going to clip off pieces of the crimson passion flower vine. This is the crimson passion flower vine. It is going up and up and up and up and up. If you can see, it goes all the way down, down, down into that green pot right there. So it's pretty tall. It is actually taller than I am. It has been flowering and it is continuing to grow, grow, grow. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these pieces right here and I'm going to trim them off because it's growing taller than I would like for it to grow at the moment. So I'm going to take these two long pieces off. Let's see, and you can see right here where it's holding hands. It's attaching to itself because it's looking for somewhere to go. So as a matter of fact, these are 3 vines. So I'm going to take all 3 of these vines and I'm just going to hope I'm not in the way. I'll go this way. I'm going to just grab them like this and I'm going to clip them off down here up under this node. Just like so, just like that. And I'm going to give it a shake just in case there are any spiders on it, because I thought I did see a little spider and I'm not in the mood for spiders jumping on me. So as you can see, I took off the top of that passion flower vine and now I'm going to take these vines and I am going to propagate them. All right, I have my vines. Now what you would normally do is you would make sure you have at least 3, and it's all rooted together except for this one. These two were holding hands. They were rooting to each other, and that's fine and good. But what you would do is you would take 3 of your joints here and you would clip it under a joint and leave 3. So I'm going to try to get about 2 or 3. So I'm going to take here, I'm going to cut it there. That's 1, 2, and I'm going to just take 2 on this one I'll cut it there. And that's going to be one. This is going to be 2 plants right here. And this one has, wow, there's a lot going on. The wind is blowing and it's blowing my clippings, so I'm going to have to weight them down. Let's see. 1, 2. So that's, I've got 2 that I cut. I have 3 right here already. So this is the third clipping. That's 1, 2. This one could actually be 2 clippings all on its own. So I am going to see if I can get this one as well, like that. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing in just a second. I need to take them apart because they're holding on to one another. So this is 1 clipping. This is 1 clipping. Here's another clipping. So that's 3. And here's 4 and 5 right here. So I'm going to take that, put my glove over those so it doesn't blow away. I'm going to take these tendrils and I'm going to cut these tendrils because it's holding on to one another and I don't need it to do that. So that's a clipping right there. And then I still have this one. So we've got 1, 2, 3. And so I'm going to cut this one right here. And these are our passion flower vines that I'm going to turn into a passion flower plant. Now what I could do is have more than 1 cup, but what I am going to do is I'm going to try to make 1 large pot like you see I have over in the original parent pot. It's a pretty big plant, and it's more than 1 passion vine in that plant. So I'm going to try to do the same thing, and I'm going to make this 1 large passion flower plant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little snippers. Hopefully my passion flower vines don't fly all over the place. And I'm just going to scrape the bottom right down here. And I'm going to scrape near the node some of that cambium layer off, just like so. Just like so. And I brought these out because I thought this would be better than using my shears, but this really isn't doing what I needed to do, so that's going to go. I think I'm just used to using my shears because it does a much better job. There we are. And I'm just cleaning it up like that. Just like my other ones, I'm going to dip it into my rooting hormone. Now this is the rooting hormone that I have. You can use whatever rooting hormone you have. You can use cinnamon. You can use a liquid. You can use willow bark. There's so many other options, but this is what I have. And then you just tap it off. I need to move over so you guys can see. I just tap it like that so that you guys can see that. You know what? I forgot my pencil. So let me go get my pencil. All right, this is real gardening, and sometimes you forget things. Take my reading glasses off. All right. Put them in my shirt so I don't lose them. Now what I'm going to do here with my cup, and move my clippings out the way. Now I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to put these around the edge of the cup. I'm just going to put a hole so that I can get this in here, and I'm going to place it, but I'm going to cut this leaf off because I don't need it. Cut the leaf and the tendril off. Cut your leaves and your tendrils off. You don't need them. Plant doesn't need it. So I'm going to place it in that hole just like that, and then I'm going to firm it in just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing with the rest of my clippings. So you cut your leaves and your tendrils off because you don't need those. Just like that. You scrape your plant just like this, making sure you get down to that cambium layer. And this particular passion flower vine, it's very fuzzy. It feels very fuzzy to the touch. Not only does the leaves feel fuzzy, but the stem feels fuzzy. That's the word I was looking for, the stem. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a hole near the edge of the cup, place my vine in there, my clipping, firm it around, move on to the next. Now you want to try to leave a couple of leaves on there. That one I took probably one too many leaves off. I was getting cut happy. Let's see. And then again, same process. You want to scrape that, making sure you get down to the cambium layer, just like so. And then dip it into your rooting hormone, tap off the excess, and then place it around the edge of the pot. I hope you guys can see. And then you place it inside the pot, and then pack your mixture around it like so. Now I'm going to firm these in, but I want to get them in here first. Now you've seen me do 3. I'm not going to have you sit here and watch me do all of them. Let me finish this up and I'll come back to you. Okay, this is the last one, and I am going to place this one actually in the center, and I'm going to firm it in. I hope you guys saw that. You probably didn't, so I had it off to the side. But this is my brand new passion flower. Now I'm going to firm it in a little bit, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit of water in here just to make sure that this is nice and moist. And then this is going to go into the indoor greenhouse. So that is propagating my crimson passion flower, and I hope to have a second plant real soon. Before I call it an evening, I am going to sow a few more seeds. If you watched my previous video, my coming off of my hiatus video, I had a number of seeds that I wanted to plant, and I've even showcased a second haul after that video. If you haven't seen it, I say take a look at it. But I'm trying to get my seeds in, and today I'm going to be planting my bloody dock, and I'm also going to be planting my radicchio. So in this pot I'm going to put bloody dock all by itself, and in another pot I'm going to put radicchio. So let's start that process. I love the way these leaves look. They are so beautiful. I don't know if you guys can see how pretty they are, but let's take a look. See how beautiful those leaves are with all that red veining? Absolutely lovely. All right, so I am going to, now this is supposed to start in early spring, but I'm going to cover it up and make sure that it gets some shade, and I'm going to put it on the drip irrigation so that it doesn't suffer in the summer heat here. Now, when you're opening up your packets of seeds, be mindful. Sometimes you'll get seeds stuck right here, and I got 2 seeds stuck, so I'm just going to place those in the center of my pot. And these seeds, kind of small. Let me show you guys. They're taking their sweet time trying to come out this packet. All right. Can you see how tiny those seeds are? They're beautiful red, burgundy, deep blood color looking seeds. So I'm just going to spread some right in the center of this pot, just like this. I'm just going to spread it just like that. I'm not going to put a whole lot, but just a few. I want this plant to come up right there. And it says that this is a perennial, but it can also be grown as an annual. So depending on where you live in the world, this could be an annual in your area. Now, since these seeds are so tiny, I am not going to cover it up with soil. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of horticultural vermiculite. Can you guys see that? Remember, I I've been buying products lately, and I told you I was going to show me using them. Well, this is an opportunity that I'm going to use some more vermiculite, and I'm going to cover the top of this soil with some vermiculite. Like I said, this pot is going to be on drip irrigation as well as in the shade, so it should do well and not be baked in the sun. But I just want to cover those seeds up just a little bit to give him a fighting chance. Now, this soil was very moist when I first started. I am not going to water the seeds in, but I am going to put a tiny bit of water, just a little bit, around the edges to make sure that this soil, this fly is bugging me, that this soil is as moist as it needs to be in order for these seeds to germinate. And so again, the soil was very wet when I started, so I just put a little bit of water, and it'll find its way. If you're actually taking a look, let's move it over here. If you can see, the color of the vermiculite is changing, so you can tell the soil is wet, and with me adding a little bit of water along the edges, it's going to wick it up. And so hopefully it wicks it enough to where those tiny little bitty seeds in the center will have some moist vermiculite on top of it. So I'm going to put this away, and I've got some, what is this, radicchio. I almost forgot radicchio to put down. So let's put this away and get to that radicchio. In a previous video of mine, this mum right there was looking really worse for the wear. I mean, it was just absolutely raggedy. And I took it down, gave it a massive haircut, moved it over to this side of the garden, plugged it up to the irrigation system, and I've just left it here. And if you can remember what it looks like, and if you can't remember and this is your first time joining me, take a look at my previous videos. You'll see where I took this mum, gave it a haircut, and now it has bounced back better than ever. And the problem was initially is I moved it around in a different part of the garden, and I inadvertently took it off of the drip irrigation. I thought I put it back on drip, and it wasn't on drip, so it wasn't getting enough water. And when I realized it wasn't getting enough water, it looked really horrendous. So now that I've given it a haircut, put it back on drip, set it here temporarily, it has bounced back, and it's looking absolutely fantastic. In that pot right there, I've got a few things going on. It looks like I might have put some beans in there. I knew I did put some lettuce in there, and there's something else popping up in there that looks like it's in the cabbage family. I'm not quite sure exactly what's what, but you know, garden surprises, as long as it's not spiders or something deadly popping out at me, I'm okay with a few surprises. So I'm gonna let that go and see what happens out of that pot. But to add to that pot, I'm gonna put a few of these radicchio seeds in that pot. So it's pretty far away, and I'm gonna have to stretch. I may have to move a few things out of the way so that I can get over there. You can probably hear me moving some pots out of the way, as well as me bumping into the camera as I try to squeeze by. Okay, I'm gonna open up this packet. All right, there we go. Can you guys see those seeds? Those radicchio seeds? There we go. I'm just gonna pour a few of them in my hand. Let's see, I need to put this bag somewhere. Looks like that big old spider in the corner has caught some prey. I hope it wasn't that bee I saw earlier, because that would really hurt my heart. I saw a bee in the garden, and I think I've only seen 3 bees so far this year. So yeah, that would hurt me a little bit if that was a bee. I can't really tell what it is, but whatever it is intently wrapping it up. And if I get an opportunity in just a second, I'm going to show you what he's doing. So, radicchio seeds, just like that. Now, I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to toss them on the soil where I have an opening, where I've been watering. Just toss them on the soil like that. There's a spot right down in there. You can see where it looks a little bit different. I used the water hose to feed in the area a few days ago, and so that's where the water with the 511 ended up settling. So I'm going to put a little bit of soil over top of that, if I can reach it. And I'm going to give that a little drink of water. Now again, everything has been watered. The soil is very moist. Let's see if I can reach in there. Hopefully my head is not in y'all's way, but I'm just taking some soil like so, and now I'm just pressing it down like that. Hope you guys saw what I did. Now I'm going to put a little bit of vermiculite on top of that because there was a little bit of wood chip on there, and I just want to make sure that everything is staying as moist as possible. If you haven't noticed, I try to put wood chip on top of all of my pots to keep the moisture in. All right, and I don't have any wood chip nearby, so I'm just going to put some vermiculite, just like that, and cover up that moist soil. I don't want to have any moist soil exposed, just like that. All right, well, it is, what time is it? It is 8:35. It's getting late, everybody, and I have got a few more activities to do before I call it a night. But before I do call it a night, I want to see if I can show you guys and you gals, everybody. When I say guys, I mean everybody. All that means everybody. I don't want to break it all down, but you know what I mean, right? Everybody. Everybody. Okay, let's look at this spider. You would think that I like spiders. I really don't have a love for them. I respect them, but I don't have a love for them. Now, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to zoom in. That bundle that you see, that is something that the spider has caught in its web. And as you can probably see, it is wrapping it up. Now, I am a good distance away from it, so I don't know what it is. I can't tell what that is. All I know is it's spider food. So, yeah, spiders. In the garden, all the time. Just can't get away from animals in the garden. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to my kitchen. I pulled some squash out of the garden yesterday, washed it, cut it up, and put it in this pan and froze it. And now I'm going to place it in this food saver bag, and I am going to put it back in the freezer. But I wanted to show you guys me actually processing squash that I grew, that I harvested, and now I am taking the cut pieces and putting them in a food saver bag so that I can put the final product in the freezer for my fall and winter meals. And again, all I did was harvest some squash last night, wash it, slice it to my desired size. I took some wax paper and lined this freezer safe dish, and then I froze my squash. And now I'm just trying to take the squash off of the pan and place it in the food safe bag. Now I put it in the oven. I put it in the freezer. It was only supposed to be in there 3 hours, but I was at work working from home today, and I did it on my lunch break, and I told myself that I would get it after 3 hours, and I totally forgot about it. I went out into the garden and began to work out in the garden, And so now it is 12:30. I should have been in the bed, but I got up because I totally forgot about this squash. So again, I'm just placing it into this food safe pouch, freezer safe pouch. And it does freeze really hard, but it's not sticking together, and that's what you want. You don't want it to stick together. That's why you slice it and then freeze it laying down, preferably without it touching each other, but mine touched a little bit. So I'm just trying to take it off of this dish, and these big ones are giving me some trouble. There we go. It's just really frozen. You can see it's solid, frozen solid. All right, so I have my squash in my food saver pouch, and I'm going to take it over to the food saver, and I am going to close it up. I'm going to put it in the freezer, and then I am going to go to bed. Okay, I am at the food saver. I just turned it on by hitting the power button. This is my bag of squash. Now what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put it inside of the oh, I don't know what they call it, the little venting window, the little window here, and it's going to pull out the air. And so you're supposed to hold with both hands and push the button. Okay, now it says it is sealing. It's vacuumed out all of the air, or it's supposed to have vacuumed out all of the air. And now sealing, and it's done. Well, look at that, y'all. This is my first time. Y'all saw it here first. This is my first time using my Food Saver FM 5200. I took out one of the bags. I loaded it with my squash. I inserted it into the vacuum seal section, which is right here after I turned it on. And I vacuumed out my bag, and I have sealed my very first harvested squash from my garden. I feel so accomplished, y'all. I mean, if I weren't so tired, I would probably squeal like a little kid, but yes, the first of many. This is what tired looks like after playing around in the garden with Mom.